Welcome, Real Estate 101. I'm Derica, and today we're diving into one of my favorite topics real estate investing. This is where wealth building really begins, and I'm excited to break it down with my co host, Deven Young. Welcome. Tell everyone a little about yourself.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you guys. So my name is Devin Young. I am a real estate broker. Been in the business for 20 years. I own a property management company. I specialize in investments. I help buyers purchase investment properties, fix and flips, buy and hold strategies, a little bit of everything as it relates to investing and building generational wealth.
I love that. People think about real estate investing, they often picture buying a house, fixing it up, and selling it. But there's so much more to it, right?
Absolutely.
And a lot of people don't realize real estate can be a way to build passive income. Money that keeps coming in wealth and whether you're working or not. Let's start there. Let's talk about passive income. People love the idea of making money in their sleep. But what does passive income in real estate actually look like?
So a lot of things can happen with real estate. As it relates to passive income, we're basically looking at the opportunity to put money in and allow it to continue to build and grow over a period of time, whether that's purchasing a single family resident and renting it out, whether that's um, getting an Airbnb and allowing someone to manage it and renting it out. This could be investing passively into an apartment or multifamily deal. It's just basically lots of different strategy as it relates to creating passive income in the real estate spaces.
Okay, that sounds great. I love that. So if someone wants to make passive income through real estate, where should they start? Should they go straight for rental property, or is it easier way to begin?
So that just kind of depends where they are financially, to be honest. There are definitely ways to get into a passive income strategy, invest in a small portion of money, and that's typically is done through crowdfunding, things like the Grant Cardone Foundation, where they purchase real estate and you invest a small amount and you get residual income, or you can get with a team like mine, where we, uh, depending on your income levels and background, we purchase property, we take in money from people and purchase apartment complexes. Um, you can purchase a duplex. If I had it to do all over again, I would have never started with a single family residence. I would have purchased at a minimum a duplex. Ideally, I tell people you want to buy 4 units or more because the goal is to spread your debt servicing over a large group of properties where you're not having to worry about whether or not you can cover the debt. You want the income coming in from that property to actually cover the debt and then give you passive income. And you want that to be able to utilize over multiple people versus a single tenant. So there's a lot of different ways to deal and look at that.
Okay, I love to hear that. One thing I hear a lot is I don't want to deal with tenants. So let's be real. How passive is rental income really?
So again, that just kind of depends on where you are and what you're willing to do. So I tell everybody, even as an investor myself, the best strategy for purchasing any type of real estate is to get with a property management company. And the reason why it shields you from having to deal with the tenant, you're dealing with the property manager is dealing with the tenant. If there's repairs or things that need to be made, you're just basically overseeing the manager, versus having to do the maintenance and dealing with the house or the tenant per se. So, first things first, if you're going to get into investing into real estate and actually have tenants, you definitely want to get a property
Like yourself.
manager. Yes, sure.
Now, one thing I think a lot of new investors don't realize is that you don't have to do it alone. Let's talk about investing with others. What are some ways people can partner to get into real estate?
So there's actually a few different ways. We spoke a little bit in general about getting into syndications earlier, investing with a large group of people, typically 100 people or more. But you can do that on a smaller level, whether it's with the individual. We have joint ventures, which is typically three to four, maybe five people involved in it. Again, crowdfunding. So there's tons of ways to get involved in real estate with different levels and amount of people. Just kind of what your comfort level is, what your expertise is, and who you're partnering with, and how well you know.
Okay, that's powerful. I know a lot of high income earners, doctors, lawyers, business owners who don't want to manage real estate but want to invest. How do syndication work for them?
So the key is actually kind of get started involved looking into different groups and different syndicators. Um, there's tons of groups out there that you can find typically on Facebook. You can find them in meetups, different groups out there to kind of build and start getting to know people. I don't tell anybody to get involved with anyone without doing your due diligence. Take the time to find out what their track record is, how many deals they've actually done, how many deals absolutely important they've exited, because the market changes and things happen to shift. And if you don't understand investing, although you don't tend to lose a lot of money in real estate often, there's definitely people that have lost money in real estate by either not raising enough money on the front side or something happens in the market and things shift and their exit strategy doesn't really cover what they originally intended or how it was going to work out. I know right now we're definitely in that type of season coming up over the next couple of years. Investors are going to have to do a capital raise because we went from a 3% interest rate to 7, 8, 9% interest rate. We went from 4 or 5% cap rates to now 7, 8, 9, 10 cap rates. And so the math just doesn't map anymore. And so without being able to raise capital to cover those shortfalls, we're seeing properties beginning to go into default and lenders extending out for, a 12-month period trying to keep us from being back in a 2005 era where the market crashed in the residential side. So definitely want to get with somebody that is knowledgeable of raising capital, that understands the process of purchasing properties, what their exit strategy is, as well as what type of renovations cost is going to take, and what rental rates are for that property when it's all said and done.
Okay, let's say I want to partner with someone to buy my first rental. What
Mhm.
should I look for in a good investment partner?
Someone that's familiar with the area. Boots on ground is key and very important. uh, Having access to be able to get to that property, know what's going on with that property is absolutely imperative. Someone who knows the market that property is in, what the rental rates are, what the potential for the rental rates are, and what's possibly coming into that arena. Um, that makes a huge difference when you're talking about properties.
Okay. I hear this excuse all the time. I don't know. I don't have the money to invest. But real estate is one of the few industries where you can literally use other people's money to build wealth. What are some creative ways to fund an investment?
Well, there are tons and tons of ways to get into real estate. I mean, in this day and age, we have things as simple as arbitrage, which is where you're renting somebody else's property and renting it out on Airbnb or doing short-term rentals, with the obviously with the owner's permission. And so that doesn't really require anything but a security deposit, and your ability to keep up with the rent. Uh, there's lots of owners that have the ability to do owner financing, and you can come in with little to no money down with that. Foreclosures, being able to just go in and catch the property up, negotiate with the seller. Hey, in lieu of losing this house to property taxes or to the bank, I'll get you caught up. You guys move out, give me keys, and in a year, 2 years, 3 years, we'll refinance the property and I'll cash you out. It keeps them from losing the property and messing up their credit, and it gives you an asset that now you can rent out or renovate and sell for a profit. So, I mean, there's so many ways to wholesaling, short sales, Airbnbs, VRBOs. I mean, you name it. If you have the wherewithal to get out there and look and find the deals, there's definitely deals to be made.
Wow, that's a lot. Let's break this down. If I have good credit but not a lot of cash, what's my best option? Also, what about bad credit but some cash?
Sounds like a perfect partnership to me. There are tons of people out there that have great jobs and aren't the greatest with their finances. And so they've messed up their credit, or they've run into situations where divorces have taken place or bad partnerships, and they have money but they don't have credit. And vice versa. There are people that have not made a ton of money, but they've absolutely been on top of their credit and made sure that they have things, and it's always a way to partner with and build relationships. I spend a lot of time going to different networking events, going to conferences, and that is a great way to meet people who are looking to do deals and looking to find partners. So
Okay, so let's say I don't want to take out a loan at all. How can I invest in real estate without borrowing money?
without borrowing money, so
Hmm.
that's kind of a trick question because um, there is no real way not to borrow money. But the key is that you're borrowing it from possibly the owner. So you're not actually taking money from a bank. But like I said, you have seller financing. Um, and I mean, other people, kind of as I stated earlier, if they already have a loan and you're taking over their note, you're not technically borrowing yourself, but obviously there's a loan. Or I mean, you always can go to the auctions and buy hot properties. You can tax sales or tax liens. I mean, people dying with kids that don't want land, they'll be happy to give it away sometimes just because they don't want to live there. So I mean, again, if you're looking to make money in real estate, it definitely is about a due diligence and willing to put in the work, get out there and find the deals, whether it's through social media, whether it's driving. When I first started in real estate, we had a saying, driving for dollars, and you will literally just drive through neighborhoods and find the rattiest house in the neighborhood and go knock on the door. If somebody lived there, and if it was no one living there, you would look up the tax records and get their information and send out, a postcard saying, "Hey, I'm interested in buying your home for cash." And at the same time, you're putting out signs. That's how wholesaling really started. You put out signs say, we pay cash for homes, and then you get a list of people that want to sell their homes, and then you create a Facebook group or whatever, and I have properties for sale for cash buyers, and now you get an investor group, and you're basically the middleman. You're finding properties that people want to get rid of, and you've got a list of investors that's looking to buy. So it's tons of ways to again make money in real estate without necessarily having money into the game, but it definitely requires time. So I tell people all the time, you're either going to pay with time or you're going to pay with money. And so if you don't have the money, you're going to invest time. And typically, when you have money, you try to invest as little time as possible and let somebody else do the work. So
Yep, you're definitely gonna pay some kind of way. Okay, let's say someone is ready to invest. How do they how do they know if the property is a good deal?
so that is definitely a good question. You want to find a qualified real estate investment real estate agent, not just any agent. A lot of people go with their cousin, friend, baby mama. You want to have somebody that has experience in this area. It's always amazes me when you look for an attorney, you look for the best attorney. But when you look for the best doctor, but when you're purchasing your largest asset, you go with Joe Smo from the corner that sent you a postcard in the mail,
Yeah.
or your cousin that just got into real estate in the last week. You want to go with somebody who understands real estate, that's been in real estate a good amount of time, and has actually done what it is that you're looking to do. And that takes interviewing and talking to people and actually getting in the rooms where deals are being done.
I know a lot of investors have different strategies. Some focus on cash flow, others on appreciation. What's the difference and which one is better?
So that depends on the person. If you are a new investor and you have time, then appreciation is definitely a great strategy, because you have the ability to buy property and wait, and that's one of the big things you hear all the time. Don't wait to buy property and wait. And so
Hmm.
property tends to always go up in value. It's just a matter of how long you have to hold it. If you're looking for cash flow or you need that residual income monthly, you're trying to increase your bottom line, then obviously you're looking for a cash flow property. That could range from anywhere from a couple $100 a month to several $1,000s a month, just depending on the size of unit that you're purchasing and how much capital you have to bring to the table to make that deal happen. So,
Okay, I love this. So, what are some red flags to avoid when buying investment property?
ha, ha, ha. The big thing when buying investment properties is, again, truly understanding the market in which you're going into. A lot of people have no clue of where they're buying at. They have no clue of what rental rates are, or they haven't been to the county to see what they're planning on doing in that area. I've had investors buy property with the intentions of doing Airbnb, and the city has an ordinance against Airbnb unless you live in the city. Or I've had people buy homes with the intentions of doing um, uh, Section 8 housing, and then the house next door is vacant, and Section 8 won't approve it. I've had people that have bought houses with the intentions of renting it to a behavioral health home, and they didn't know that there was an addition added to the property that wasn't permitted, and then the city didn't approve it. So there's tons of things. Again, you have to get with somebody that truly understands the market, and these are stories that I've seen happen with friends that didn't go through me, and I get to.
Did you take pleasure in that?
I did. Unfortunately, I mean, it's always bad when you get the phone call and say, "Hey, can you work your magic?" On one side, you get that warm, tingly feeling like sucks to be you. You should have called me first. But you hate to see your friends go through pain and heartache. And I definitely have some friends that chose not to use me at different times and ventures because they knew somebody else, or somebody told them they was going to give them a great deal, or they was going to give them money a kickback or whatever, and they went with these people. They got involved in deals that didn't turn out to the best for them. And so you have to be careful when dealing with people and understand what you're getting into. Make sure that you're pulling permits and that the property that you're looking at or plan on purchasing is in the right area, that it has the right classifications and codes, that any work that has been done has the proper permits, and just understand that whole entire process when it comes to investing.
Okay. This has been a powerful conversation, and I know we could go even deeper. What's the best piece of advice you would give a new investor?
My best advice for a new investor, if you don't currently own and you're looking to buy, purchase a duplex. Find something that's within your price range, buy that property, rent out one side, stay on one side for a year, and rinse and repeat, duplicate that system until you've grown a portfolio large enough and you have enough income that you're not struggling or worried about how you're going to pay the bills. If you have the ability to buy something larger, a threeplex, fourplex, five, six, then again, invest in those things because the more people you have paying for something, the less load it is on you. But seek professional advice always. Make sure you're working with a qualified real estate professional that understands the market in which you're in, as well as what your intentions and goals are. I think that's one of the biggest keys and takeaways for most people. They don't explain to their realtor what they're looking to do. They just tell them what they want. And so it's hard to help a person that hasn't given you all the information, even if they do know and can prevent you from going through pitfalls. If you haven't shared your vision, then it's kind of hard for them to guide and direct you. So make sure that you find a qualified professional, give them all of the information, make sure that that's the areas of their area of expertise, and then happy hunting.
Oh my goodness, the honey. Tell me this. What's the biggest lesson you learned from a bad investment?
So I personally have only had, and I haven't had a bad investment. I've had investments that have not worked out quite the way I desired it to. Um, and that was just one deal. And that was I new to a city. I hired a team, a contractor, and the deal took longer to do the fix and flip than I anticipated. And that kind of set me back. Instead of being a fix and flip, it ended up being a buy and hold.
Wow.
And 3 years later, I'm still holding that property.
But you got the income
So,
coming in, right?
yeah, I have the income coming in, but I would much prefer my $300,000 cash than the little $500 a month that I make on it. So, again, kind of that's what I was saying. Make sure that you're familiar with the area and what's going on with the area and what happens. Make sure that you understand and know your contractors. Always put in a cushion because people will tell you and sell you a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the reality is contractors don't always do what they say. And if you don't have things in your contracts to force their hand, you're kind of at their beck and call and whim when they get around to doing it. And so that's one of the big things that I learned early on is put time frames and then put qualifiers around those things or penalties if they don't accomplish what they've supposed to accomplish. Because on my very first fix and flip, we ended up going to market 4 months late. And a 4 month time frame is huge. We're
Yeah.
talking about the difference from going on the market in May to going on the market in late September, beginning of
Oh,
October. And that's a nightmare. Uh,
yes.
you want to, ideally, your high seasons is going to be April, May, June, July at the latest. And your slow months are always going to be November, December, January. And so November, December, January is an excellent time to buy. It's absolutely the worst time to sell. And you want to buy in low seasons and sell in high seasons. And so if you can prepare and structure that out so that it works for you, you buy in January, it gives you 5 months to do your rehabs or whatever you're doing and get it on the market in the high season. But you don't want to buy at the top of the market and then have to sell at the low. And I bought this property in February. We were supposed to be on the market by the end of May. And like I said, we didn't finish until late September, beginning of October. And by the time we got the occupancy cert, it was mid-October. And so I ended up just refinancing the house, pulling some of my capital back out and renting it out. So we
Wow.
definitely want to make take advantage of those things.
Lesson learned, right?
Definitely a lesson learned. Contractors. Put together your own team. And if you don't have your own team, make sure you have penalties in your contracts for the contractors that you're using to make sure that you can hold them accountable to what they say they're going to do.
Okay, tell me, how do you build a real estate portfolio that replaces your income?
How do you build a real estate portfolio that can replace your income?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Find you a real estate professional that understands investing. Um, Again, there's lots of strategies out there to acquire properties and create residual income. The goal is to find a strategy that works for you, find somebody that can guide and direct you and instruct you in that process, and then get out there and get to it. Real estate is definitely, we're not creating any more dirt. So if you can get in front of the power curve and start acquiring these things and be able to hold on to it, my goal, my takeaway for everyone is always buy and make sure that you have a minimum of a $300 to $500 cushion between what your debt is and what the income is. When you're dealing with real estate, you typically want a 1.25 multiplier. So if my mortgage is $1,000, then the rental rate on that property needs to be a minimum of $1,250. And so that way I have a cushion throughout the year to be able to cover any shortfalls, do any repairs, any upgrades and upkeep. So
Okay. This has been an amazing discussion, and I hope you all got real value out of this. Devin, thank you for sharing your expertise. If you're serious about investing, your action step this week is to find a potential investment deal and run the numbers using what we talked about. And of course, if you need help, reach out to Devin or myself, and see you next week.
awesome, awesome. You guys have a great day.